Yeah. Is she? Yeah. Can you?
And because I'm gonna want her to go through the slides.
Kathy, do you know? Congratulations. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting this. I've been really working. Because it's helping my grief. So I've been working.
My grief too, I'm bored hard.
I'm not kidding. Ours is a divorce, but it's a little different
I
than
don't know which one is worse.
Diabetes with child.
Yeah, yours is just continuously.
Fun. Daughter. Well, nothing is not easy. I'm just saying, I can't say that it's.
I'm gonna turn this down.
5+3.
All right, we're gonna get started in about 1 minute.
I know.
So we all got to confirm that, so I need to print those right here, so that when people I can show it for. You have somebody, they want to say this to your client, whatever. So don't know. It's a lot of work. But I love your functional. I was talking to Tracy about it, and she said she stopped.
Tomorrow.
We stopped, okay.
Tomorrow.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
Yes.
But they're here, so I did that.
Yeah.
They help me.
We can just help her in any ways we can. On listings, tours, email, anything we can.
All right, we are going to get started. Happy Tuesday, the last Tuesday of August. It's pretty hard to believe we're closing in on the end of summer. Many kids back to school. Pretty incredible. Market's still extremely robust. A lot of amazing opportunities, a lot of great accomplishments across the board. So just very proud of that, and that's a tribute to all of you guys making it happen. We've got a little course adjustment today. In full disclosure, our special guest unfortunately had some personal challenges. Actually, his pet passed, so he will not be here today. He will likely be here 2 weeks from now, but we're going to adapt as good people can do and will do, and we're going to have a great panel of some top producers to replace that. So just want to let everyone know that. And you guys can hear me on Zoom, correct? Take that as a yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So I am going to always start off with a piece about mindset. I now leverage what I write on social media, so I don't have to be redundant, and I talk about it on the town halls. And we're going to talk about being relentless, which I definitely like to believe I am. Good or bad, I definitely feel like I'm pretty relentless, and I'm always trying to just raise the bar. So Amber, are you there, and are you able to maneuver the slides for us? I hope so. Maybe Armand should be with her. All right, thanks. We'll wait 1 second and then we'll get those up. Here we go. And if you can maximize the screen for me, thank you. Awesome. All right, next slide, please. So I always say, to me, life is about being the best version of yourself. And I think if we all strive to get a little bit better every day and become the best version of ourselves, then that's what it's all about. Like I always say, happiness is progress. If we feel like we're progressing and growing and improving, we're happy, we're living a rewarding life. And run your own race, right? There's a natural tendency to compare yourself to others, and it's fine and very valuable to learn from others, but take what you can learn from them and apply it to your own journey. Because when you start to compare yourself too much to other people, you get very distracted, you get off course, and often what you're comparing yourself to is not actually reality, especially in this world of social media and what have you. There's a lot of, things that aren't necessarily real, even no pun intended with, social media and reality TV or whatever the case may be. If any of you have read the book by Tim Grover, Relentless, Good to Great to Unstoppable, Relentless helps you become just that. Patrice, do you want to? There's some other seats. Yeah, right. There you go. Basically, it really is a standard, a personal standard. And really, to me, Relentless is unwilling to give up, right? Never stop trying. To me, there is no such thing as failure if you continue to progress forward and you keep trying. You're going to stumble, you're going to get disappointed, things are not necessarily going to go your way, but if you continue to persevere and become relentless and have that habit, it's amazing the kind of obstacles you can overcome. An insatiable appetite to take initiative and the courage to act on it, right? I look at people and I see, do they take initiative? Are they proactive? Are they waiting for things to come to them? Are they going after them? Right? And going after it is being relentless. And especially in this business, guys, anyone who thinks that the business is going to fall in your lap is absolutely kidding themselves. You've got to take the initiative. You've got to go after it. And you got to believe in yourself, or otherwise you're not going to do that. And there's going to be a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty. But when you lean into that, that's when you're going to achieve and ultimately build the confidence, and the resilience and the credibility that others will have in you. All right, next slide. Is that the next one? You threw me off. Next. Okay. This is something I'm really passionate about, the little things. And again, I come back to this is all about having a personal standard. The little things matter. The little things are very much indicative of the big things, and the little things in aggregate lead to the big things and add up to the big things. Like the attention to detail, taking the little extra steps that most people are not willing to take. Those are the people that truly achieve at the highest level. Those are the people that are, to me, relentless. And relentless doesn't need to be like in your face. Relentless means, again, perseverance, tenacity, consistency. That is really what relentless is to me. Embracing pressure, right? Using it as fuel to propel you forward, right? Again, I just sat down with an amazing lady literally 45 minutes ago, and she was describing very honestly how fearful she was about taking on a new market, okay? And she's an established agent, but not in this neck of the woods, okay? And she told me how scared she is, and that's totally natural. Like, I have tremendous fear, but what do you do with the fear? Do you use it as ammunition to propel you forward, or do you run away from it and not confront it and just, ignore it, right? Because then you're never going to become the best version of yourself. So a willingness to be vulnerable, to be authentic and natural, but then taking on that fear and that uncertainty and leaning into it and seeing it as the greatest opportunity to learn and grow, right? Stepping out of your comfort zone, it goes hand in hand with that, right? That's the only way you grow, is when you stretch yourself. And, you can use the analogy of working out in the gym. I'm a big fitness person. The only way you grow your muscles is when you stretch them and you break down the muscle to then rebuild it. It's the same thing in emotion, intelligence, skill, all of it. You got to step out of your comfort zone, and that's how you raise your ceiling of achievement and your capacity to take on more. Thoughts, questions?
I think being in the. No, go ahead, please. Ladies first.
Ladies first, go ahead.
First.
I was just going to add also to all that you said, also sharing has been quite powerful for me for the past year and a half. If I did something that was successful and I shared, I think it would be inspiring for others. And then when I'm down, also I have shared, like, I can't do this, I can't get out of bed today. That has always, because then you will see, oh, there's somebody else that feels the same way, and we share, what do you do? And I think sharing and this whole process is also, of course, with the right people, is quite powerful tool.
Love it, Kathy. I couldn't agree more. That's why you guys know how often I talk about collaboration and exactly that, sharing when you're down and you realize that you're not the only one that's down. And that helps you to some degree have some comfort that, hey, I'm not the only one, because we all have a tendency to tell stories in our own heads, feeling like we're the only ones experiencing what we're experiencing. Well, the reality is almost everyone else is experiencing largely the same thing, or many people are, that you're experiencing ups and downs. And when you're sharing them, it gives you a sense of confidence. You learn new things by sharing them. And then it helps you basically get out of the negative and elevate the positive. So I couldn't agree more. I think that's tremendously valuable. Yeah. And you guys all know that, extremely purposeful about trying to create that and connecting people, because again, we all accomplish so much more when we're collaborating in together. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not one person's win has to be someone else's loss. Everyone can win. There's so much to go around for everyone. And honestly, we create a lot more by collaborating, right? We elevate the ceiling significantly. Yes.
I was just gonna say that I do look up to you in the sense of you're working out, because this has to be like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. I'm driving down
I can tell.
Wilshire, and I start to see this guy running, towards me, and I'm like, this guy's crazy. Like, he's just running on the street.
I've already almost hit him.
Towards traffic, right? And as I got closer, I'm like, oh, wow, that's Josh from the office, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And that has helped me to, not necessarily just that, but I mean, I look up to you because of that. It's like the fact that you wake up early and you get the gym in before, and you're here before almost all of us. I mean, that right there is shows a lot of power. And I speak for myself because I was a little overweight, a few pounds, and getting back into the gym, eating healthy, having that mindset just aligns everything to be here, to work, to, move forward. You start feeling better about yourself. You look better. Like, that really does help, it really does, like, skyrocket even your work, like your work ethic, how you feel, how you look, how you portray with your clients, like all that really does,
Yep.
I'm a believer in that because I've seen it with myself, so.
Thank you. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
that. I
Yeah.
appreciate
And it always starts with like clarity of purpose, guys, knowing what your purpose is bigger than you, which for me, it's all of you guys and my family. So that's when I don't feel like it. And believe me, there are many times I don't feel like it. I do it regardless,
Yeah.
right? Because I know what I've got to do. I have a purpose, I have a plan, and I know exactly what I need to do, and I execute regardless of how I feel. And again, to your point, when you do that, you feel a lot better.
Yeah.
You don't let your feelings drive your actions. You let your purpose drive your actions, and your feelings are a natural byproduct of that. So very, very important. Love it. Thank you, guys. And again, what I just said, limitless possibilities, right? We all have limitless potential. And the beauty of it is we'll never ultimately hit our potential, any of us. And that's the beauty of it, because there's always room for improvement, but we're trying to get as close as we can, at least for me and those that make that choice. And everyone has that choice. Next slide, please. It always starts with a growth mindset, which means effort trumps talent all day, right? We all have innate talents. We all are born with a certain height. We all have genetics, right? But with effort, we can overcome any of that. Right? So someone who's born with something much, quote unquote, better than someone else can overcome that with effort all day. And you can see that everywhere. And so effort trumps talent. And when you understand that, you address problems and challenges a lot differently. You lean into them and you recognize them as great opportunities to learn, to grow, again, to become better. And that is a growth mindset. It's real simple. And it's funny. I see my son, who just started first grade, come home with a little picture, and it's growth mindset. And they're teaching that, in first grade now. It's awesome. I guess I never think I learned that directly in school. So my wife's like, wow, they should bring Josh in and do like a little tutorial, very cool. And it is just simply like understanding that effort goes much further. And, as the definition of grit at Angela Duckworth, which is an amazing book, I encourage everyone to read. I gave it to the ALC a couple of years ago. Right, effort apply times. Wait a minute, I lost my train of thought. Talent is skill, right? Skill times effort is achievement. Effort counts twice, right? So we all have certain degree of talent. We take that talent and effort to it. That develops skill. We take that skill and apply effort to it. That's when we have achievement. And again, effort counts twice. So I think that's really just a simple way of putting like effort really matters.
And when you fall down, you get back up. She said she doesn't believe in tattoos, but she said if she had one, it would say, if you fall down 20 times, you get up 21.
Yep. And it comes back to like what I have here, humility, grit, and ultimately personal responsibility, guys. That's something I'm also extremely passionate about. Don't look at other people, look at yourself. We all have more than enough to accomplish anything we're committed to. And yeah, some people may have a competitive advantage here or there. You have no control over that. Focus on what you can control, which is your actions. And with that, you can overcome anything, right? How many people don't take responsibility? It's his fault, it's her fault. They have this, I don't have that. I mean, come on, who wants to hear that crap? Whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. Make the most with what you have. It's more than enough. I'll tell you, quite frankly, I said this, I think, to Alex the other day, right? Or I was thinking you had that color shirt. I watch agents. I meet thousands of agents, right? We have over 500 in this office. And there's no judgment in this, but I look at certain people and they're always looking for what's wrong. And I look at other people and they're not paying one iota of attention. They're just always looking for what's right. And I'll be frank with you, the ones that are looking for what's right go much further most of the time, period. It's that simple. And you guys can all relate to that. And none of us are perfect. And some of that's, we made to recondition ourselves. But the people that are looking for what's wrong, they're going to find it. The people that are looking for what's right, they're going to find it. You choose. And it's amazing when I put it through that lens and I watch how people achieve, it's very telling. Any other comments on this? All right. Next slide. We're almost there. It always comes back to action, right? Coming back to what I just said before is effort, right? Relentless is an immersion, actualization, which is basically action, right? Insatiable appetite to realize their potential through action, not overthinking it, not like waiting for the perfect time or the perfect circumstances, but acting, right? In the face of uncertainty, right? Not easy, but it does become a habit when you're disciplined, consistent, and you're clear in your purpose. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. We tend to overcomplicate it. And who was I? I was the same lady I was speaking to earlier. It's amazing the difference. And we talked about this in the power session between being 98% there and 100% there, right? You'd think it's only 2% difference, but I would argue it's a world apart because that 98%, that little bit of doubt seeps in. You start telling yourself stories. Maybe not, maybe I'm not ready for this. Maybe it's not the right time. And you don't do it. And that 98% quickly becomes 50%, which quickly becomes nothing. Okay. Versus when you have made a decision and you are all in. Very, very different. And you may make a mistake even when you're all in. That's okay. You're going to stumble and you're going to learn and you're going to keep moving forward. So I think that's really, really important. I think that covered it. Other questions or thoughts? Again, you guys can see how like passionate I am about this stuff, and I'm always striving to like get better every day, right? The best can always become better, and that's humility, right? And that's where it all starts in character. All right. I am going to introduce a special guest, a gentleman that I got to know fairly recently through some mutual friends, built a really strong relationship pretty quickly, has a really unique lending product and lending company. So Mike, why don't you come on up here, and from Blue 11, and I'll let Mike speak from his own background, his own experience, and share with you the value, because I'm always striving to create more value for you guys. So
sure.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, Josh, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's so, I got to tell you, share kind of a funny story with you guys. I was sitting at a Starbucks in Orange, and I just walked down to go grab a cup of coffee, and I was talking to one of my agents in Napa Valley that we've just closed a deal with, and all of a sudden I'm sitting next to this gentleman and not knowing each other at all. And I'm hearing him talking, this humility and this passion and this drive and all this, right? And I'm going, God, this is great. I'm from the owner of a company. I'm going, okay, how do I start the conversation but getting on board with us? And, I let it go, finish my conversation, go upstairs, and 45 minutes later, I get called to my conference room by my partner and says, hey, we got our meeting. I'm going, all right, great. So I walk in and there he is, sitting in my conference room. So things happen for a reason. I believe in the fact that like minds really think alike, and we want to create things that benefits all of us, everything around all of us across the board, and be an asset to each other. So on that note, my name is Mike Amari. I'm with Blue 11 Mortgage Capital. We are a unique mortgage company. I know you guys already have really great lenders that you guys deal with. I totally understand and I can respect it. We simply ask for really keep us in your arsenal, in your back pocket from lending, from things that I'm just going to go over with you for just a couple seconds, right? So I know time is limited, so I'm literally going to actually reduce my 30-second elevator pitch into a 10-minute conversation. So it will be very quick. So I'm often asked first and foremost, what's Blue 11? What's the name of that? Okay, and the second question is always, what's the difference between you and any other lender? Well, the first question, as far as our name is concerned, it's going to require more than 30 seconds and it requires a couple of drinks in your hands. The second question is easier to answer. Our biggest asset in our company, in our industry, with us at least, is our team, our members, our group, our loan officers that are incredibly good at what they do. So that being said, I wanted to go over a few different things with you guys. We are a family-owned business, so it's everyone that's around us. First and foremost, I want to introduce somebody else that came with me, actually my business partner, Steve Bablott, my other half of the business. He's actually one of the best commercial and residential builders in LA area. So I got lucky enough to actually have him as a partner and about a year ago. So I actually wanted him to be here with us to say hello. And it's a wealth of knowledge for you guys and wealth of knowledge for me. So at any given point that we have the ability to be able to converse with each other as to how to navigate around certain products, certain projects, and so on and so forth, believe me, the amount of asset that comes in with him is just incredible. I just got lucky enough to have him as a partner. The next is actually, I've got-
Steve's the mentor of one of my close friends and the CEO of Clearmark Title. So Steve, I've had the good fortune of getting to know, and Mike's only barely scratching the surface on.
Right, he's incredible. And obviously I brought Brandon Lozano with me. Actually, I was able to, after 6 months or so, steal him from one of our competitors, which happens to be Chase Bank. So yeah, we are incredibly unique in what we do. And I'll go over that in just a few seconds. If we can get the next slide.
Next slide.
Maybe soon, anytime.
There it is.
Or should I push a button? We are truly an out-of-the-box lender. What does that mean to you guys? Everybody will tell you that when they come in and say we are an out-of-the-box lender. I'm going to go over some things that will explain to you as to what we are. We love our entrepreneurs and self-employed clients. Banks really are in a box. Other mortgage companies are in a box. Now I can understand, I can respect that. We have our conservative side about us. Everything is like an onion peel. You peel it off, it's a risk level that we look at, right, from all perspectives of it. But what we look at is how do we get a client that is an entrepreneur that's went through COVID, that went through loss of income in the last 12 months, 16 months, 18 months, and how do we turn that into money in your pocket for you? So we really are, again, I'm going to go through a couple different things with you in just a few seconds, and you'll see how we benefit you, and you guys can, experiment with this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. We have never, ever, ever, and it's very hard to say this by a lot of lenders, we have never missed a close of escrow date, and there's a reason for it. The reason is very simple. We have a pretty stringent guidelines in regards to the way we deliver on things, and that has to do with our team and our staff. I deal with a lot of realtors, obviously, and I love the professionalism of the realtors.
I have to interrupt you.
Please.
That close on time date, if what this gentleman is telling you, this is not done in LA ever. If you haven't done a deal recently, that just doesn't happen. I remember being in Houston talking to some lenders and people, and I said, well, if you're in LA and you said that one point, you get business.
Yep, I agree with you. And here's the reason why. We deliver a very decent amount of volume to our investors. Based on that, we get a lot of privileged environments, and we are a lender. We are direct. We are not a broker. I'm not going to take your deal and shop it all around town. I make the decision. I'm the owner of the company. I'm also the credit manager. I'm the head of underwriting. What does that mean? We are not a discount mortgage shop. We are not. We are simply a very, very solid mortgage company that actually makes decisions immediately. We give you a fast yes, and believe it or not, a faster no. Because it's as good of hearing a no sometimes than it is to hear a yes. But if it's quick and it's fast and you get things done, right? So my job is to create that and deliver that to you guys on a whim. So 73.4% of our production in the company is purchase transaction. That tells you we know purchase transaction. We're not a refi shop. We're not a discount shop that's covered, that says we can do this loan at 1.875, but with no points, no cost, this, that, everything else. We're not that. You want that? They're down the street. We're really good at what we do in the shoot of what's outside of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and all the other guidelines that are out there, right? Everyone talks about communication. To be very frank with you, one of the things that you guys have access to is to see who we deal with online, and you'll see that on our website. I encourage you to look at our references and communicate with other agents about what we do. That's the greatest asset I can give you. That's the greatest validation and testimonial that I can give you, that what other agents actually think of us. And don't look at just the testimonials, call them if you wish, because that's the best testimonial you ever get, right? My team is available 7 days a week. And why? Why are we available 7 days a week? You're not a banker's hours. You guys work Monday through Monday, right? You guys maybe take a couple days during the week off. But I guarantee you work at the pleasure of your clients. Your fiduciary responsibility is to your clients, so therefore you got to deliver on that. So if the client that wants to look at a house on a Sunday, respectfully, they want to put an offer in, my agent, my loan officer, your loan officer better be available for you to give that approval to you, pre-approval to you that moment in time. And not just a piece of paper, by the way. We will interview the client and we go through the entire process in a very short period of time. It is easy for us to recognize. It's like a bucket, right? Things fall into a bucket. This client starts up here. We go, okay, are you a veteran? No, yes. Okay, are you self-employed? Yes, no. Are you this? By the time all said and done, it falls into a bucket that we know exactly where that client fits. And we make that decision based on that. We move quickly, ask for the right information. We move on, okay? Can we get the next one? Our originators are highly trained and in underwriting. They're not just an app takers, they're not order takers. They're actually can make a decision on your loan as they're talking to you. They will ask you the right information to be able to make a decision for you on the first call. That's what makes us a big difference here. They are actually also trained in finance and capital market. They know the pricing to lock your loan the day one that we talk to your client, okay? Especially the loans that are not typical your Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac type of a product mix that's in the box, okay? Again, as I said, our loan originators are really great at structuring loans, and I'll go over that in just a few seconds as to what I mean. Availability to have access to us at any given point within 7 days a week, you have it. Can we get to the next one? How many of you guys can answer this question? How many first mortgages can be on one property? How many can answer that? One? Okay. So this is where creative financing comes into play. As of August 16, I closed that specific transaction, $18.5 million. That's more relevant in this area, right? So the first mortgage lender that we actually went with on this one specifically, maximum they wanted to do is 60%, right? So, and at the last minute, this specific client was kind of unique. So this specific client was a director of North American for a publicly traded company, Australian company that was only trades its shares to its internal members. So think about that one from an American lending firm trying to understand that concept, right? So we were understanding enough to look at the cash flow of the individual, not look at just the share value of the stocks, right? So we went ahead and got him a 60% first mortgage. We negotiated a 10% additional first mortgage that went in a second position on a first mortgage behind the initial first, if that makes any sense. And then I convinced the seller to do a 15% carryback, which they initially didn't want to do that. The borrower came in with a 15% down payment on an $18.5 million property. You tell me where that can happen. Nowhere. Usually you want a 40% skin in a game when it comes to a loan that size, right? So we were able to actually structure that and really create an environment that was a win-win-win for the buyer, for the seller, by the way, the realtors on this thing, each of them made 3%. So if you can imagine on an $18.5 million, they were really happy with me because they each made over $500,000. And we do this constantly. So not every loan is 18.5 million. Of course, some loans are 500,000 and we love those as much as we love the 18 million, right? So again, it comes down to uniqueness of structuring the transaction. Can you go to the next one? Any questions so far? Next,
I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, how are you? Good.
How are you? So when you call both of the mortgages first mortgages, I know the position is like the second position on the second one. So what's the point of calling the second one first mortgage when the positioning of it is second anyway?
It's not second. They're both recorded as a first mortgage. One is a first tranche. The second one is considered a B tranche within that. So what happens in this case, by the way, great question. What happens in this case, the second mortgage, I'm sorry, the second mortgage always takes a loss, right? The 10% agreed to, because it was such a unique property, this property was so just, I'm telling you, it's one of those properties that if you do yoga, you don't even need a mat over there because it's so spiritual as far as the space is concerned in Napa Valley. So in this case, this property, this lender right here, this investor that we brought into the deal, takes the first initial loss in event of a foreclosure. So the first is actually solely protected. So this protects literally the first mortgage from a total loss. So essentially the first loss is that 10%.
Why don't we don't call it a second?
Because the second mortgage happens to be the seller
Why
carryback.
can't we call the other one third mortgage?
Because the second mortgage that is a seller carryback doesn't want to,
Carry back mortgage.
they don't want to be in a third position because you're already in a bad position in a second. So imagine being in a third position, you have zero rights, right? In an event of a foreclosure or a negative event, right?
Technically, that's the second mortgage and that's the third.
Yeah,
It really isn't.
Legally,
Trust me to the fact it is
by
not.
called A second, it gives them more rights for being called a second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Once you get
So-
foreclosed on,
so-
the first is gonna get his money 60%.
But to be creative, and make everyone happy, you got creative to make everyone happy. They
Right.
want the third.
Thank you. And you can analyze this any way you want. At the end of the day, I got the property, the client in at a 15% and the realtors made their money, right? At the end of the day, it's end result that matters. And the end result was exactly what we delivered, right? So if you have unique situations that you want structured, just give me a holler. And we will go through the process and say, okay, can we do this? Can we not do this? And I'll give you all the options and we will become very, very creative throughout the process. Can we see the next one?
Amber? Alex, somebody? There.
Okay, you guys are in a market of cash buyers also, okay? How do you deal with a client that wants to buy a property and competing with cash buyers, yet they don't have the cash because they need financing to get it done? Any answer?
Get them underwritten,
Pardon me?
get the borrower underwritten first.
Takes time, I agreed, takes time, but that, if that was the case, then we do a traditional lending, right? So
Go to
if it-
you and say all cash, but you do a loan on the side.
you're almost there. So let's go to the next one. You're almost literally there. So what happens is this, if you can go to the next slide, believe it or not, this is exactly what I did for this same borrower I just showed you. Can we see the next
Next
slide?
slide, guys.
A short-term bridge financing with no prepayment penalty closed in 3 to 5 days. Literally the same thing I did for that $18 million property. I can do the same thing with a $500,000 or $1 million property. I can take that property, take that borrower off the street, pay them, purchase that property in cash, in essence, with a bridge financing. Sure, the rate is 7.5%, of course, but 7.5% for a 30-day period, who cares?
At what point?
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Point to point and a half, max. Okay? On our loans in the front end, when we do the non-QM products, we have no points. When we do our loans, no points. A bridge financing, they require a point. Okay, so again, at the end of the day, sometimes you want to get that property and that client off the street as fast as you possibly can. Get them into a loan transaction, get the property off the street, and then let's work on within the first, 15 to 20, 30 days to want to provide them with a financing that is traditional, that takes them from a 7.5% down to 3.5 or 3.75 or 4%. Okay, so again, create an option and create an environment that we can actually get them off the street. That's right, get that property off the street. Again, you want to compete with cash offers. Today's world, you guys are pretty lucky because today's world, honestly, you guys have put a property in MLS. You got 10 backup offers. And then once you have the 10 backup offers, then your pricing gets jacked up by 20 or 30%, right? Talk about a greatness, right? And then you have a lot of people with a lot of cash that's coming in and says, I want to buy this property cash because both either they're an investor or they love the property, blah, 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 right? Our job is to create an environment for your clients that says, I can get this property, I can get it off the market and move on. And then I'll do a traditional financing format down the line. We do this all day long. My partner does that all day long on his assets that he does. Yes.
I was just gonna ask, how often have you done this for clients and how successful it is? Are you vetting them 100%? Like, how are you ensuring that you guys aren't taking a loss on the back end if you're purchasing a property off them?
One of the things I said is I'm the credit manager, right? And I do have underwriters that work in our office. We can look at a loan within 24 hours and let you know that we are not going to take a loss. And the asset, it speaks for itself. And the credit and the borrower speaks for itself. If you have a borrower with 800 credit score, 750 credit score, it's really easy to make a decision. Okay, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at a loan, look at a client on an overall basis and say, okay, credit 750, check. Gentleman, either lady, gentleman, whatever, that either owns a restaurant, works for a bank, works for whatever company, salary, W-2, whatever that happens to be, check. All those things are fairly easy. The only issue that would be in question is the asset itself, right? That's the only, would the value come in, okay? And that's technically, we can literally look at the value in so many different ways and make that decision. So the answer is pretty simple for us to do, okay? Great question.
I do know this, like these guys have been in the business for, decades. So, on the brokerage front, the lending front, the title front. So
it goes with a gray hair. It's sort of,
Sorry.
so yeah, actually goes with that, yeah. So by the way, again, goes back into permanent financing within 15 to 20 days right after that. So that $18 million loan that we just talked about, we just did a 10 million for the same client in San Francisco, and this one was done in Napa Valley, both of which we are actually doing a refinance for them to put them into a traditional financing. So really, we got on 2 properties, which is almost $30 million, 2 different transactions back to back, right? And that happens literally all the time for us. Because again, we have our swim lane. We are not all over the place. We have our swim lane. So when you call us, we'll tell you, yes, we can do this, no, we can, and how fast we can get it done. Can we see the next one? Any questions so far? Okay. Next, please, please, please. Okay. Again, we specialize in 15-day close. We guarantee it. And there's a reason how we can guarantee it. Okay. The 15-day close is great. It's contingent on a few things, right? One, the client provides us with all information on time, right? Making sure that appraisal comes in. Like for instance, to give you an example, I'm doing a bunch of loans in Hawaii and San Francisco and so on and so forth. Getting an appraisal in Hawaii, especially Kauai or Maui, it's an act of God. A $1,200 appraisal, it's about $6,800. And 45 days, that's with a rush. San Francisco, it's about $1,200 appraisal, it's approximately $3,800 with a rush. So it all depends. This area, you have more seasoned appraiser, so you're not running into that thing, thankfully. So it's actually pretty cool to see that. So and I said we are as good as our products and our portfolio. Bridge financing, which we just talked about, and our jumbo product mix, we go up to $50 million. Okay, not too many mortgage companies can actually say that. We actually will make the decision internally. Up to 10 million is signed by me in the office. Okay. So anything above that, I go to my investors, a little bit of risk here, right? As you can, I hope you can appreciate. Next. Okay. I believe in the fact that I compare ourselves to a 4-star or 5-star restaurant, right? And here's the reason why. As someone that's sitting on a table and call it Mastro's or Ruth Chris Steakhouse, whatever your pleasure is, right? You want to enjoy your time with your friends and have your drink and so on and so forth. You don't care what happens behind a closed door, as long as you are serviced. You're create an environment that you have a capacity to enjoy yourself, and it really set the expectation for you, right? This is what we do that creates a 15-day close. I'm not going to get into all the niche and itty-bitty nuances of this, but we start with day one of doing if you notice, day one is multiple things that we do on that transaction and so on and so forth. I'll leave that with you so you understand exactly what the process of a transaction is for us. We're very, very, very transparent in what we do. It is, you'll know exactly from day one how everything's structured with us. Okay. Next. Anything else? Okay. We are getting to the final stages of this. Again, aggressive loan structuring, creating a niche for your business, which is our getting the client off the street as fast as possible with our bridge financing. Foreign nationals, as a matter of fact, I was here last week and asked me for a foreign national client that he's got. We are incredibly good at those. If they're from Canada, if they're from China, from Japan, from Australia, not a problem. It's very easy for us to do that. We have the products for it. The investor programs for people that are actually buying units and apartments. I don't require tax returns on most of our products. I don't want to see them, as a matter of fact. I'd rather look at, under tax returns, most clients write off all taxes, depreciation, blah, 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 right? Okay, they can't do that on their bank statements. On the bank statements, I look at the deposit, and I look at the what the outgo is, and whatever is left, be given the credit for as far as income is concerned. So a client that actually would qualify for an $800,000 property on their banks, on their actual tax returns, I will qualify them at $1.4 million, $1.8 million, believe it or not, on their bank statements. It's a big buying power for you. Let's look at their cash flow. Let's don't look at their bank statement. I mean, their tax returns, right? Asset depletion and credit repair. We're not a credit repairing company. Okay, that's not what we do for a living. But as part of what we do with our credit reporting agencies is that we have the capacity to be able to do rapid scores. So essentially, through the algorithms of our investors, our credit reporting agencies, we can put in and say, this individual has a 690 credit score and I want to get them to 720. What do I need to do? It will tell me based on the algorithms that we put in, hey, if you pay off this, you pay down this, and so on and so forth, it will get you that score. And then we'll do that and we'll get it done. We're not a credit repairing agency, but we will do whatever it takes to help that client to get that to that next level. Next. Challenge us, please. I beg you, challenge us and give us a deal. Show us what we can do for you. At the end of the day, it comes down to service. And the only way you're going to know what our service is by trying us and knowing what we can do. We will go whatever it takes for us to get that deal done for you. Okay. So again, give us a try. And I think you will love the service. And at the end of the day, you love to have us as a lender in your back pocket. If you have a plumber in your back pocket, you have a mechanic in your back pocket, it comes down to be the same thing. It's a service-oriented environment. And we want to be in your back pocket in regards to what we do, right? And I think finally, and that's it. Any questions for me? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Ali.
And then you guys can ask him afterwards. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
You did mention Canada and Australia and other countries, but you didn't mention New Zealand.
I apologize. Yes, of course, New Zealand. How would I dare? Of course. Yes.
And secondly, I'd like to say, I've just almost completed 3 different deals, all challenging, refinancing, straight out mortgage loan, and the company was fantastic. They answer the phone practically 24 hours a day, and they follow through with what they say, so I can recommend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. I sincerely appreciate it. So the greatest testimonial is who, thank you. So I can't thank you enough. I'm available after this. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Josh, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna race wants and needs. Actually, before we go there, Michael, anything to share? Michael's our broker of record. Most of you know that. If not, you now do.
Just real quick, actually say what he just said, most people have contractors in their back pocket that they always refer to. People, your clients are always asking you. There's issues that come up if you refer a non-licensed contractor in a deal. Basically, if you do any work in the state of California over $500, a handyman contractor has to have a business license or contractor's license. So we have a disclosure. I sent it out earlier today, along with another one. If you didn't get the email, that means you're not on my list or the office's list. So reach out to me or Armand, and he'll make sure that you're getting the emails. It's a new disclosure. It's also in our disclosures.
Yeah, if you're not on our Facebook group, sorry.
Yeah.
let me know that, or let Armand know that, or let Alex know that. It's a great communication vehicle, and I realize that some people are not for various reasons, so make sure you let us know so we can add you onto that.
Yeah, so that advisory is there, and there's also another advisory that we put out, and it is a use of the non-standardized forms. So many people are getting into deals where Zillow is the seller, or other third-party entities where they're using their own contracts. It happens a lot with new builds. If you're using something that's not a form, we have a disclosure or advisory that says that the client should contact or consult with their own legal, get an attorney's advice to review it. There's certain, all the car contracts have a active contingency removal where you have to actively remove your contingency in writing. Some of these third-party agreements have passive removal, which means it just sort of happens automatically, which could be detrimental to your client. So 2 advisories that just came out. If you've got questions on them, let me know. And they're there.
Sorry, Michael, where did you email?
I sent an email this morning. It's like a mass email. It would have come from me. But if it's basically the same list that the office uses to notify stuff. So,
And guys, we're also sending out a marketing email, which if you're not getting that, let us know that too, twice a week with all of our new listings. And you can always share that with your clients. It's pretty powerful. So if you're not getting that, let us know. Communication is essential. The resources are here, guys. kwbhvirtual.com has tremendous resources as well, including our training calendar with all the Zoom links. So I'm trying to really emphasize communication because we've got a big office and a lot of people are like, I don't know where this is. I don't know where that is. And all the resources are there. And we're trying to make it as convenient for you as possible.
and one last thing, I'll just say, the new residential purchase agreement, there's a draft copy. It's not getting released till December, but the copy is up on CAR. I recommend looking through it to see how it's laid out. We're going to start doing classes. Jeff Kahn will do Zoom classes for all the forward living offices at some point. So it's
Is that a delay in the release?
no, it was always scheduled for December of this year. So, but look through it so you're not scared, because it's the old one's going to go away and then you're going to all be forced to use it. And
Be
Brian,
proactive.
yeah, and your TC is not going to fill it up for you.
Awesome. So I'm realizing we don't have any of our title or escrow people, or lending. So we'll, in light of timing, we'll be okay with that. Wants and needs. I want to race through this, but I want to give everyone an opportunity both on the screen and here. Anyone have any deals that they want to share coming soon off market or any needs? Kath.
I have something coming up in Bel Air, Lower Casiano. Probably be listed in the 3 million, absolute gorgeous. If anybody wants detail, it should be coming on the market within the next couple of days.
You said gorgeous to you?
Cam's house?
Gorgeous views.
Right, Cam's house. Yeah.
Off the street.
Actually, up the street.
Right, yeah.
Up the street. And then I also have 4 one-bedroom condos coming up on Wilshire Corridor. And the beauty of it is they're each 2 and 2 side by side in 2 different buildings.
So they can be combined.
They can be combined.
Yep.
So it's, if anybody needs more information. I'm sorry? It's probably about 800 to $1 million each.
Awesome, Kath.
Yeah.
Diane, you're up.
I'm looking for either a duplex up to a 4-plex in area 19 that's not on the market.
How much was?
It's not on the market, 2 to 4 units.
Price or?
Price, they'll go to 3 million. They should be able to get a nice duplex.
Yeah. Diane, put that on our Facebook page too and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd
Yep.
rather pay 2.5.
Awesome.
I would put 2.5.
Who else? Don't be bashful. No one else? No one else? Come on. Anyone on the Zoom want to share anything? Wants, needs? All right. Okay. So we are going to adapt and have Kathy, Cam, Robert, come on up here. Kev.
That was not announced.
Yes, now it's announced. So we're gonna do a little ALC panel. Diane, can you guys? And in light of the fact that we were gonna talk about social media, I figured we'd stay on that theme and start there. And then I've got a couple other topics, time dependent. Who else? Are you gonna join us or not? Are you gonna
You
go?
have to. No, no,
Right.
no,
Right.
you are not going anywhere.
So, so I wanted, since we were gonna talk about social media, I thought it would be a good time to, and I have my own opinions, because I leverage social media very well myself, but I wanted to ask all of you guys, and I'll just start off like, how has social media impacted your business? And I think before they answer, you're gonna see there's no right answer to that, clearly. And I'll just, before they answer, like Robert barely is on social media. One of our top producers, been in the business for decades, has consistently been a huge producer and barely is on social media. And I personally probably never, but has sometimes his team leverage a little bit because he does have an account, because I know that, because I tag him.
So very quickly, I have to run for these guys on the panel.
Get something signed.
I personally have never done anything on social media.
Step up a little, so also make sure everyone can hear you.
I've never done anything on social media myself. And I believe all the old fashioned things, which are not that old, open houses, door knocking, just calling your sphere. And what I'm talking about, there's so many hits you're supposed to do a year, according to Gary Keller. And Gary tells you the magic secret sauce that a lot of people miss is you got to do a vocal phone call once or twice a year. So whatever you're going to do, if it's social media, you're going to dive into it deeply, and you certainly can. Make sure you do that secret sauce. You got to make a vocal call. You got to make a conversation one-on-one. So you can do all this, and there's people that do it really great, and they kick my butt. At the same token, I would challenge you guys to look at me a year from now. I probably won't greatly increase my social media, but my volume will definitely be higher. I can guarantee that, from open houses, door knocking, old-fashioned stuff. Now, these guys are going to talk about social media. I'm going to run and try to make some money for several guys up here and myself and some other people in the office.
So let me just, before I let these guys speak, I think one thing I think we'll all agree to is social media does not replace the other key activities. It simply amplifies those other things if you're doing that. Like, and I know for myself, I am very purposeful about social media, but I built my influence in my business by picking up the phone, relentlessly calling agents, right? So my listings are my recruits. It's the same thing. It's literally, and I did that, and social media just simply helps me amplify what I'm already doing, right? And it really does help me touch people with a lot more leverage very, very effectively, but it does not replace the basic activities. And I think we can all agree to that. So with that said, how has social media impacted your business? You can take it down.
All right,
You can talk.
it's definitely impacted my business. It's mostly Instagram rather than Facebook. I'm very active on Instagram. Usually I post 3 to 4 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Fridays are usually my posts. I don't always post just, just listed, just sold. It gets boring. So usually Fridays I post something like something cool to do over the weekend, like an awesome sale that happened, something fun. On Mondays or Wednesdays, if I have anything, a new listing or open house, more that kind of information. And guys, it's inexpensive compared to print media. So especially for newer agents, you should be posting Instagram Live and doing that every single day, just being in front of thousands of people for free, compared to sending out mailers and flyers that can get pretty costly. What else?
And what Cam, what if anything is like, can you attribute to social media in terms of deals? Like, I know that's hard to do, and quite frankly,
I can say this, I'm pretty active in our community. So I'm very social in our community. So anytime I go to an event or something like that, like, oh, Cam, we saw this on your social media, or we saw something else, and it starts a conversation with them. Oh, are you guys looking for something? It's a great conversation starter when I actually see them in person.
that's a great
I
point.
can always ask, hey, you guys looking for something? And everybody's interested in real estate. Everyone is interested. Everyone thinks they're sort of an expert in real estate. But it's a different
Yeah.
story. But everyone wants to know what's going on, what your opinions are. But it's a great conversation starter.
Love it. Who else?
How has it impacted your business? What are you doing on social media?
I can tell you guys the things that I do that you guys should not do, and the things that I do that you should do. I am not consistent on social media, which is not okay, because you know, the algorithm, first of all, that it creates, if you're there all the time versus you're there every other day and then you're not there for 2 weeks, I think it makes a huge difference. So whatever you do, definitely, I recommend that you be consistent. If it's twice a week, 3 times a week, every day, consistency, I think it's very important. What it has done for me personally is that it has definitely taken my image to a different level. Just by posting, you know, everybody in my community, you know, thinks, now it's true or not, I don't know, I'm a multi-million-dollar agent just because of my posting. And, you know, everywhere I go, I get compliments from friends and family. Oh my God, you're killing it, you're doing this. And there may be a couple of weeks that there's like no activity in business, but that's the image that I have given, and it has worked. It actually has worked.
So I gotta just, before we move on to the next, like, as I think about, first of all, I think Kathy's point about consistency is crucial in anything and absolutely holds true with social media, like consistency, right? So if you're not gonna commit to doing it with consistency, don't do it, quite frankly. And the whole point about perception, let's get real. Like, in social media world, perception can often become reality. I mean, I'll be frank with you, and it's true. So I'm not like, and I don't think you should mislead people. Paul says to me all the time, Paul Morris, you know, he's like, your social media, my people come up to me and like, what's Josh doing over there? We're like posting about new agents joining and what, like, it's like, they're like, I can't believe he's a new one every other day, you know, every day. Like, that stuff matters, guys. Perception does create, and oftentimes it creates reality, right? Obviously, there's got to be some foundation in actual reality, or otherwise at some point, something's going to come to a screeching halt. But it really does create mind share and awareness, and people really look at it. It's, I mean, I'll be frank with you, when I hear about someone, the first thing I do is I go to their like Instagram account and look them up. That's where I go. So that's your image. So, you know, if you're not nowhere to be found, it's not the greatest thing, right? And if you're there and you're being authentic and you're being genuine, it's going to help you a lot and elevate you quite a bit. So I think that it's like your resume in many ways in this day and age. So, and it's free. Cam said it, and it's free. I mean, that's just,
People are paying attention, right?
They're-
Even if you don't get the likes and comments, people are viewing it. People are
absolutely,
looking.
and we all know that. So
I
tip
wanna
the scales in your favor. Go ahead,
I
Kevin.
also want to add that I also do combine personal with business, but that's the motto of my business anyways. And I think when I do something personal, it catches a lot of attention. And then probably, you know, if I have a big listing coming up, I do a couple of personal ones, which, for example, gets 250 likes. And then right after, I put my.
But they're still watching. Let me also, I think that's such a big point.
Absolutely,
I think it's critical to blend the two. And I think any social media quote unquote experts will tell you the same. People want to know you're human. They want to know about you outside of business, and you're going to get more, you know, quote unquote likes and whatever on the personal stuff. I know I certainly do too. But nevertheless, people are still watching. They're not just as readily going to like it when the business thing. I think that's a pretty strong general principle, but combining the two, I think, is really, really important.
So I haven't done any advertising on social media. I just do my own, which is exactly like Kathy. I do listing, not like you, but you know, because you said you don't do that, like what's open Sunday or
I
whatever.
do, but I try to mix it up, so
Yeah.
it's not boring. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, he has another listing. Oh, he sold another thing. Something informative, so they continue following you and it's interesting. And that's.
But have any of you done any advertising and been successful? That's what I want to know, because that's my plan is to do that.
So we can come back to that in a second, because I mean, I know several people. Go ahead, Kevin.
I think social media has different levels. Like Kathy said, there's a business level, there's a personal level, which I believe we should definitely mix it. Recently, I haven't been doing very well on a personal level, it's been more business. But boosting your post always could work as well, because when you boost your post, there are more audiences that you're also attracting to see your post. On the other hand, when you're on a social media, it works based on engaging with other people. If you engage with other people, for example, if you put a comment for someone else's post, they will see your post as well. Or if someone else put a comment on it, they will see more of your posts in the future. So one of the things that I try to do, I'm not very consistent as well. I usually try to put happy birthdays every day for whoever is on my Facebook. So when I do engage with that person that I put a happy birthday post for them, they will see my post in the future. And even though if there was no engagement before that, after that, they will see my post as well. I use social media just to be in front of my audiences, to be in front of my sphere, family, friends. Like she said, we go to family parties or family gatherings. They're like, oh my God, you're doing great, you're doing good. And here and there, I get direct messages about, hey, I'm looking to purchase such and such. Do you have anything? Or I'm looking to sell. What do you think? How do you think you can? I have generated leads from social media a lot, I would say, and it works perfectly. There are people that they may just start doing this. They just got into real estate and they don't have, for example, listings, or they don't have anything to promote. There is a
You can promote our office
Facebook,
listing.
yeah, you can
Absolutely.
promote office listing, but there is that's what I used to do in the past, and I still do it. There's a page called Facebook business page directory, Facebook directory business page. If you sign up, they charge $39 for every 6 months, and you can pick and choose what days they automatically put a post for you. They put articles, they put pictures with content on it. If you're not able to do those kind of things for real estate, $39 for 6 months, you can have every day, they post something on your business page every day, but you can share it on your personal page as well. So, I mean, there are many different levels, many different ways of promoting yourself in real estate and social media. TikTok is next thing. I'm trying to get into TikTok.
And of course, videos, I mean, we could
Yeah,
get.
videos and
Yeah.
this kind of thing. So Instagram, obviously right now, I feel Instagram, it's not in the business side, it's not as good as Facebook. I think Facebook does better on business side than Instagram. That's my take so far. So you got to be active on social media.
Yeah, and I think one big takeaway for everyone and everyone's a little bit different. If you're not in it, get in it, and you'll figure it out as you go. But if you're not, if you just continue to sit in the sidelines, you're losing a lot of opportunity. And just getting into it action begets action, and will get you better and smarter as you go and asking good questions and having, and again, Tony will come back, next. I mean, he's really a social media guru and has built his business significantly. But I think it's important to hear just some basic principles in our own experiences with what we've had with social media. So,
don't forget about stories.
yeah, still a big time. So, I know Mary Beth's very big on social media. You knew I was coming to you. So I know this is a broad conversation, but any just basic observations and
Sure.
comments you would make?
Consistency is really important. I will say, sometimes when you start something and you go hard with it, it's really hard to maintain, right? So I would just, if you haven't started it, just ease into it. Again, there is no right or wrong answer. I've been on Twitter for 11 years, Facebook, well, deactivated and activated, of course, for other years. And my Facebook, I have the page and then I have my profile. Profile is family and close and tight people. That's it. And then my page is business. Instagram's a mix for me. Twitter is my unfiltered self. It has nothing to do with work, but it's still me, right? It says that or stuff like that. So I keep things separate. Instagram, I use actually, the highlights on top, the circles. That's the way I organize listings, sold, LA, Florida, to visually organize, because my posts are kind of I'm more of like, I'm me on Instagram. I personally don't follow pages that are all house, real estate, deal. It's boring. I think it's cool when someone shows like how their little toddler grew up on their clothes. You know what I mean? Like in a cute family picture, because it's real, humanizes people. Stories and reels, two different things. That's a whole nother conversation, but that's like a really good, if you haven't been active on Instagram lately, like stories are just good to like get back in the game, like get seen again, right? Like go to an open house, you know, do a little tour, tag the listing agent if you're nice, you know what I mean? But and the listing agents sometimes, or at least, you know, their social media teams, they'll repost you and they'll, what do you call it, share it again. So and engagement, it's not just about posting.
Yeah.
Like go like other people's stuff, go comment.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like good job, love your hat, whatever.
And I want to ask you about reels and stories, because I'm not the expert on that by any means. I don't even barely know the difference. Is sustainability. That's like something you'll hear me talk about in anything. And I think that point you made is like, again, if you haven't started or whatever, don't bite off more than you can chew. Ease into it, because you know so many people run out of the gate and they're doing 100 things and then they just drift away because it's not sustainable. So whatever you start to do, ease into it, make sure it's sustainable, and then you'll slowly raise the bar. I think that's a rule to use in anything and everything, and social media absolutely included, because otherwise it's all for naught, right? Yep.
Have you guys ever seen the really cool reels of like, you know, how
So do you want to explain what difference in stories and reels? Because I'm not even sure I know. Yep. Sorry, or someone?
It feels like they
They're
created that to
similar.
like compete with TikTok sort of.
Yeah.
Right, so what is the
Reels
difference?
Reels are like TikTok.
Reels are like TikTok.
Which
and
means what exactly?
so they're short, they're 30-second videos that you can create content and put on Instagram. And they did that to compete with TikTok. You will get more engagement with IG based on their algorithm if you making reels as opposed to using TikTok and uploading your TikTok or pushing it to Instagram.
And how about reels for stories?
You can add your reel to your story, but it's more effective if you put it in your, if you post it and then share it to your story.
Okay.
And it's important that you have your hashtags that you add to your reels. And it's important that you engage with at least 25 new people that you're following, because that brings them, the algorithm recognizes that you're engaging. So you need to engage with 5 people, 5 days a week, more than 5 words.
So this
And
is
it opens up.
sustainability.
Right. She's sustainable because I watch it,
So
you
you
know.
only see 7% of all of your social media, but this opens it up. So it brings more awareness, and your hashtags are really important.
And you start
So
liking
by
like certain type of video.
Right.
It just
Yeah,
shows
Thank
you
you.
more of that. Like mine are just like homes and German shepherds.
Right.
Like if you go through my reel, so like when you start liking stuff, it says, oh, Cameron likes homes, or he likes German shepherds or Corvettes. It's just gonna be consistently showing those videos, and you're gonna see a lot more random people looking at your videos. Your stories are just your personal people that are your friends or family that follow you, watch your stories. The reels are pretty much just, it goes out to the world and everyone can see it.
To go viral.
Reels
Right.
can go viral. Yeah. reels
Okay.
can go viral.
Okay.
But my whole point was like, don't get fooled, because some of those 15-20-second reels can literally take 4 hours to make
Yes.
with all the tricks they do. So I'm just putting that out there. Don't try to like, you know, keep up with that stuff if that's not your thing.
And I come back to what I said originally, sorry,
Yeah.
is like social media to me, and that, you know, I'm anything but in social media. I'm not even close. I'm a complete novice. It amplifies who you are and what you're doing outside of that. So like so many people get caught up in social media without doing the rest, even in real. And I'll be frank with you. I watch people with huge social media followers and they no business. And I'm like, okay, well, great. You know, you got all these followers and all, but like, show me that I'm not to be whatever, show me the money. Like, I know that they're not doing anything. So I think it's important to recognize, once again, it amplifies what you're already doing, and it can be an extremely and should be a really effective vehicle, but it doesn't, it does not replace the activities and the relationships, which are face to face and body to body, guys, you know.
It's an addition.
It's a supplement. Absolutely. Go ahead, Cap.
I wanted to add two things. One is that we all got to remember to tag KW Beverly Hills because they will also repost your post, which I think is quite important. And the second is be true to, I think we got to be true to ourselves.
Yep.
Like, you don't want to make show or be somebody
bit of
that you're
spice.
actually not,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I suffice to sometimes just to, if I'm walking somewhere or, and that will do for me. I mean, I don't have to have professional,
Yep.
things done when I don't need to, so.
Yeah, I think, authenticity always carries the day in anything, because ultimately that, if you're not, then, it's not sustainable, right? Kev,
So something that I used to do, which I haven't done for a while, when I used to put a post, so new listing or even personal posts, I would go through my comments and give them a call, every single one of them.
Yep.
If they left a comment, I would call them, hey, how are you doing? Just to say hi, how are you? That's it. And you already have, not the same day, obviously, a couple of days later, but it's more than warm conversation because they already seen your post. They're like, oh, I just saw your post. I'm like, yeah, thank you. So,
I very much use that in my own way,
Yeah.
100%.
when
big
they
time.
leave the comment, like I used to call them all the time and have a conversation with them. You never know. Maybe
Yep.
they want to buy or sell something.
That could be your call list.
Yep. Totally.
Exactly, exactly.
To me,
I mean, it's-
my social is like my database.
Yeah.
Like it's extremely purposeful. I mean, mine's centered around real estate and agents, and that's my world, and it's very purposeful, but it's also extremely authentic. And at the end of the day, to Cam's point, a few of you have made it, it's got to be of value. Like, it can't be me. It's got to be about like, what can you do for me being, the audience, right?
One of the
So if
things
you're not
that we-
creating value and interest and authenticity, then, it's not
Just
going
talking
to
about
be effective.
others or other businesses, there was a class on family reunion 2 years ago, which they were teaching us, telling us what to do. One of the things that they were suggesting to do is go to your local restaurants, okay? Just put a post up picture of the plate with the tag the restaurant and promote that restaurant and let the restaurant know that this is what we're doing. Just to get to know that restaurant owner or manager or whoever, these things also
It always comes back,
bringing into the community, basically contributing. To the
coming from
community.
contribution
Yeah.
as leaders, which we all are, if we choose to be, give with no expectation of anything in return. And it's
And
amazing,
those restaurants will repost what Kevin did and.
big time.
You just went in front of all their audience.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do that with artists when I see like really cool art, and I find that like 8 times out of 10, the artists will repost my story, and those artists have really good followers. And those artists, people that are following those artists, are people that are buying real estate.
Big time.
Those are
Yeah.
like money, and like every time they repost, like my story like blows. Like it's just like 2x my normal engagement. And it's really like a really powerful tool,
Love it.
and I get followers and whatever else.
So I want to know who uses LinkedIn here.
Inconsistent.
I think that's the one thing that people should really start using more that we don't enough, because it's so powerful and the reach is insane. Like when I post my newsletter, I do a monthly newsletter. Every month I post it on LinkedIn also, and I get like this, I'd say like my engagement is like 5 times more than it would be on like anywhere else. And it's just like all random people, and like it's shared amongst people, and it's a professional community. It's just knowing how to use it the right way is important, but it's really
Great question and great, like, maybe I'll have you come and
Yeah,
teach
for
us.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's the most underutilized thing, and it's the most powerful of all. And the fact that it's underutilized means there's less competition. So you're out there, you're the voice of real estate, like, and people that you're not posting listings on there and doing, like maybe you post like a big closed sale or something, but more so like providing the value and talking about the market, because people care about that.
And it's a lot more quality than just random, quantity.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
So what I like about LinkedIn is you can go after certain audiences. For example, if you want to go after realtors, you can easily filter to realtors, doctors, lawyers. And there was a time, I mean, for the type of listings that I get, multifamily and investment, that I was targeting only the doctors on LinkedIn. And I will send connections to these people. Again, consistency is a key, which I wasn't consistent, but that's one way of.
What a panel you have.
Yeah, that's all right.
Consistently
Yeah,
inconsistent.
right.
What not
Hey,
to do?
we learn as much
What not to do?
from mistakes. Yeah.
But no, but LinkedIn, I don't know, it's not so thing and, you know.
But what's cool about it is you can connect with like CEOs. You can choose who you connect with there, and you can find them so much easier than like Instagram. Like CEOs might not be, or
It
C-suite
can be
people in
far
general
more
are not gonna be
targeted.
on there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've made some really great connections just directly reaching out to people. like that.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions? I know we're gonna wrap this up in a minute. Ally, Yeah. sure.
This right here, standing in front of us, is the most amazing man on Facebook. I am actually terrible at social media, so I have to admit to, I have an Australian friend who puts me on Facebook, and everyone thinks it's me posting. And then she'll call me and she'll say, you've got 90 comments to whatever, whatever. Josh never misses one posting. He acknowledges, comments, everything. I don't know how he found time in the day.
I'm just it's in the morning and at night, and I don't even touch it in the middle of the day, like zero. I don't even think, very purposeful about, but it's been, I'll be frank with you, for me personally, it's been one of the most effective tools I could have ever imagined. Specifically Facebook for me, quite frankly, because I wasn't even on Instagram until like maybe a year and a half ago. And I was way late to the game, and I kept saying, I'm gonna get on Instagram, and I finally did. And it's just very redundant for me. It's I just post on both. And it is very interesting to see that there are a lot of particularly, younger agents that aren't even on Facebook. So you miss some of your audience if you're just on Facebook and not on Instagram. But I will say there is more engagement in many ways on Facebook. So I can see the differences, and I wouldn't do that without doing it. Like, you got to just do it and you'll learn from doing. And then I am extremely, as you know, consistent and purposeful about what I do and when I do it. And, and I'm always striving to
Never miss a comment.
What's that?
To love.
Seriously.
I did not. I am just and I probably spend honestly like a half hour in the morning and a half hour at night.
As soon as somebody put a comment, you love it.
In the middle of walking to this or that, on the way to the bathroom, like every moment counts. I mean,
My wife tells me, does he ever miss a comment? Like, this is crazy.
Well, good. I'll take it.
Can I add one more thing about Facebook? Go ahead.
No, you know that you can post from your Instagram, you can push it to your Facebook.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It doesn't like, I don't know what, but
It
I just
pushes
copy
to
and
your
paste.
business.
It only
Yeah.
goes to business.
It'll
Yeah.
go to your business, so
Yeah.
you can share from your business to your.
Yeah.
personal.
Right.
Oh, if you have a business, if your setting is on business on Instagram, you can see your most active audience is on there. Like, go to your insights, it'll say, most of your audience is from LA.
Yeah, I never even looked at any of
Ohio.
that stuff. Yeah.
Just because that
Yeah.
helps
Yeah.
with your content, and it helps that, I'm sure if you pressed on yours, if there's one of the setting, it would tell you that, your viewers are mostly looking at yours at 6:30 a.m. and like 11 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I don't know, because I'm very observant, but I don't, some of it, like, I can't understand why this happened this way, but whatever. At some point, you got to pick and choose your lane, and, it's important to me, but it's not my bread and butter. Like, it's a supplement, as I always say. So, and
Yeah, so one more comment. So utilizing groups on Facebook, especially with KW, is massive for referral network. Like, there's ones for everything. There's a luxury has their own, young professionals has their own, there's abs coaching, there's there that post referrals constantly. Like, I see every day, there's like 5 referral opportunities that are blasted out, and there are people that are in these groups are all over the country or the world.
I usually get on those groups that I see the members are like over 3,000-4,000.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean,
Those are the
even ones that are
types
300 or
of-
400, you never know. And like, you'd be that guy, or one person in that group, and then you just get blasted out. Like, I'm a part of the Young Professionals, and the Young Professionals group, like actually a couple of them there that all day blasting out. And then you have friends in those groups that promote you and call you like, hey, there's a new referral, like, boom, call this person. It's really, really powerful tool.
And there's a thing you should all know about that's starting to happen tonight for the first time in the year. It's as part of the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce. So their office is next door on the corner, and they have created an upstairs deck. And they had their first this evening from 4 to 7:30 meeting, and they're all lawyers, dentists, real estate, artists, business owners that gather, and it's the most amazing networking thing that actually happens in Beverly Hills. And it's once a month. Yes, so that's worth going to.
Yeah.
It's on to it.
All right, well, I want to thank you guys for helping adapt and evolve, all you guys, appreciate it. Thank you all, I'm here, and we will see everyone soon. Have a great day, guys, be well.
Thanks, Josh. Michael.
Hey, Josh. I was so I was looking for it's like the first